It's me, Lumber Snack, king out here of the kingdom of snacks. And today I'm talking about one of the most underrated apostles. Yeah, that's Apostle Thomas. And you got to kind of understand certain nuances about the apostles because, well, I grew up Mormon. And so we have a whole different outlook on stuff. You know, personally, I think Mormonism was to recreate and reestablish, you know, the Levitical stuff, or at least, you know, the covenant with Levi under a new name, ascribed, you know, with the Gentiles, you know, as foretold in the Testament of the 12 patriarchs. But listen, I think Thomas the Apostle was one of the most underrated apostles. I think he was a pretty huge heavy lifter when it came to establishing truth and reason. You know, when you get into the apostles, you know, Andrew was, I believe, the first one. He was, you know, really like Johanna the Baptist, you know. Cool dude. I love Johanna. I think he was a Messiah personally, which, you know, means messenger. And he absolutely was. Anyone that says otherwise is a punk nerd. I'll say it. And with Andrew came his little brother, you know, a little stone boy. Probably my least favorite. And then after that, you know, you get twins. You have James and John, which John was the beloved one. And then I think after that, you get like Philip and Nathaniel. Philip brought Nathaniel, and then there's the seventh one. I think it was Matthew, who was called Levi, but it might have been someone else. But you get to the eighth, and that's Thomas. And Thomas is the skeptical one. He's a smart one, man. He was not considered like beneath Yeshua at all. In fact, like textual evidence suggests that Yeshua found him as an equal in terms of mind and mentality. I just think they exist on different sides. You know, Thomas was kind of there to ask the questions and call it out where it saw, and, you know, keep people ringed into the truth. Oh, man, I love Thomas. You know, if there's anything about the next level of what's to come, I truly think it'll be Thomas's time to shine. It was a pretty heavy lifter when it came to India and Indian Christians. You know, he was never like one to really go after his role. He kind of had to be forced into it, but I'd like to preach a more nuanced gospel following the testaments of Thomas, because at the end of the day, Judaism wasn't monotheistic until Persian influence, and the Persians have a pretty huge emphasis on the twin spirits, of which Thomas means twin, of which then Cyril of Jerusalem says that, you know, don't read any Thomas testaments or whatever because of some Persian racism that he had. But at the end of the day, that Cyril punk routinely stole land from the church and sold it out from under them. So screw that guy. I'm with Thomas, you know. I'm with Thomas, and Thomas is with me. I hold to that. Anyway, remember, if there's anything that Johanna the Baptist would want you to do, who I think was the raddest of lads, and Yeshua would agree with me, he'd want you to call your government a bunch of punk fascists. Anyway, it's me, Lumber Snack, just trying to fix the world.